Hi, this is Lori Fetrick. I am Ice from the American Gladiators, and you're listening to the RockStop with Chris Contra.
All right, welcome into the RockStop. Chris Contra here, and joining me on the program tonight is Lori Fetrick, who shot to fame as Ice on the wildly popular competition show American Gladiators. How's it going, Lori?
Hey, Chris. I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you being here.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. So I imagine as a kid growing up, you must have been pretty athletic, huh?
Yeah, you would say so. I mean, I started shooting baskets with my dad in the backyard probably when I was old enough to shoot a basketball. I'm going to say, I don't know, 6. So I started doing that and then started playing softball during the summertime and just all through high school, you know, basketball, softball, volleyball. I mean, I'm an athlete, so therefore it keeps me going. You know, in the wintertime, I do a lot of snowboarding now. I'm out here in California, so when we do get any snow, and my go-to is like, you know, Mammoth Mountain up in that area, because our local mountains are terrible with snow.
Are they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was actually a ski instructor when I was 18 years old, so, you know, I was skiing, you know, my whole life, and then snowboarding came along, and boom, put my skis up and grabbed a snowboard, and that was that.
Yeah. Doing all those athletics in high school and growing up and things, did you envision a career for yourself in kind of that field in some way?
You know, it's funny. I mean, obviously you always kind of dream of, you know, having a job with your passion. So in other words, you know, if you're passionate about something, you really hope that you can turn it into something you can make a living at.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way all the time, but I want to say I got lucky, but yet at the same time, I was an athlete and I was prepared when the opportunity came around.
Yeah. That's all you can really do. And is be prepared. And you certainly were. So, I mean, So right out of high school, what was the next step?
Oh my God. Right out of high school, I started bodybuilding actually.
Yeah.
You know, I started bodybuilding and competing. I don't want to say right out of high school. Probably like 3 years later, I started competing in bodybuilding competitions, and you know, kind of kept that going for probably, I'm going to say, a good 5-6 years. And then that's when the Gladiators came along.
Wow. So what turned you on to bodybuilding, coming off of, you know, some of the other stuff you were doing? You know,
you're gonna laugh, but I was right out of high school. I started working, you know, a 9-to-5 job, and I was sitting all day, and, you know, being an athlete, I wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
And then I saw some of the people that I was working with, so I was doing some accounting work. Unfortunately, they were a little bit heavy, you know, a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
And it kind of scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, I can't sit here and do this. I gotta, you know, do something. So I literally just started going to the gym, and, you know, while I was in the gym, I met a personal trainer, and it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah. Interesting. So yes, sometimes seeing that type of situation, people become so complacent. That's too bad that happens to a lot of people.
Unfortunately, it is. I mean, I had to be at work by 8 in the morning, but I was up at 5 a.m. and I was at the gym by 6. So, you know, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they're like, well, I don't have time to work out. You can always make 30 to 45 minutes somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's true. Absolutely. Every little bit helps.
I'll be honest with you, though. It's hard to keep up for a very, very, very long time. You've got to be dedicated. You got to want, you know, to have the desire for it.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, I just got done training this morning, and I haven't been in the gym for a couple weeks, and I was kind of like, you know, kind of jonesing and getting kind of antsy, and I was just so busy and consumed with, you know, what I'm doing right now that I was like, oh my God, I have to go.
Yeah. Kind of like growing up, that mindset was sort of instilled in you that, you know, to stay active.
You know, it's interesting. No. No. The only thing I can remember is when I was really young, I do remember the old muscle and fitness magazines laying around the house. And my dad, he used to be in the backyard. He had a small weight set, so he was doing that a little bit. My mom was always super health conscious. She was so health conscious that she would ruin our cookies,
Yeah.
She'd try to taste the sugar out and put wheat germ and all this stuff and just completely destroyed it.
Oh, wow.
It was, so my upbringing, I mean, we weren't allowed to eat cold cereal. We would have to eat shredded wheat or oatmeal or something like that. So it wasn't so much, it's funny, I think back on it, and then I'd walk in to our den and my mom was doing exercising to Jack LaLanne.
Yeah.
There was Jack LaLanne on television, and my mom used to be exercising to the TV. So it was they were doing their own thing, but it wasn't instilled upon us as kids, me and my sister, okay, you got to exercise and you got to play sports and you got to do this. No, it wasn't even like that. They were just kind of doing their own thing. We were just kind of, watching what they were doing as kids, and I guess subliminally, yes,
Yeah,
it kind of took over.
So then do you hear about the American Gladiator? How do you hear about the show even?
It was, I stumbled upon it one time watching television. Seriously, I stumbled upon it and I was like, whoa, what's this? And I thought, wow, this is really cool. At the same time, it's really stupid. Seriously, because it wasn't refined yet. It was the very first season. It was very hokey.
Yeah.
It wasn't it was just really campy and, cheesy kind of thing. And it's interesting because I think the first 13 episodes, I missed the first 13 episodes, which I have no problem missing because that was the most cheesiest part of it.
Yeah.
But they were trying to create characters.
Mm-hmm.
So, Malibu was yo, dude, what's up? So they were trying to create these characters. And I think after the first season, they realized that, wow, this isn't working. The character thing is not working. Why don't we allow them to be themselves?
Yeah.
And kind of, yes, we'll instill we want you to be super competitive and, you can get in the contestant's face if you want and that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But, so I have no problem really missing the first 13 episodes of it.
Right. You said, the foundation of the show was a really good idea, competing, putting up some, gladiator type people against, your regular people who compete for money. I mean, it's a great idea for a show, but as it went on, you're absolutely right. It got, they allowed the gladiators to kind of be themselves and really be a sport out there. And it was awesome.
Yeah. And that's when the show, I think, really took off.
Yeah.
Is when they allowed us to have our own personalities.
Definitely.
Which was really cool. I mean, yeah, I was myself on the show, but yet we did get, pretty competitive, with the contenders, and we would kind of play it up a little bit, get in their face a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it made great TV. And then even if sometimes the contestants, they were taking it we were all serious about it, there's no doubt.
Sure, yeah.
But they would take it, they were I think it was $50,000 if they won.
Yeah.
So they were dead set on winning. And so for us, we were on the show as regulars and they would just kind of sometimes get in our face backstage.
Oh, really?
And be oh yeah, oh my God, I'm going to kick your ass and blah, blah, blah. And we're okay, dude, that's fine. I get paid whether or not I win or lose. So you go ahead.
Not too smart to rile up the gladiators, I wouldn't think.
It was still so much fun.
Oh yeah,
so much fun.
And I mean, the whole idea of American Gladiators, these days you got, of course you have your main sports leagues, and just recently they started up the XFL, which is a competition to the NFL. It's another league of football, but it's not an original idea. American Gladiators was really an original idea where what you guys were doing was way more competitive than a lot of the main sports, I think, even, and more physical too.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of spin-offs to it. There was Knights and Warriors, and then the closest thing, I would say the closest to the show was maybe what The Rock just did, his show.
Oh, yeah, right. I forget the name of that. Yeah.
Wow, that's really bad. So did I.
Yeah.
That tells you what kind of impact it had on everyone. But no, I think he did a good job. But unfortunately, the way that the whole show was structured, it got very boring.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't necessarily going hand to hand with each other. They were going against themselves, like the obstacles. Okay, well, now we're talking to American Ninja Warrior. I mean, again, they're going against the obstacle course. They're not going against and battling each other. And I think that's where the uniqueness of the American Gladiators actually really kind of shines.
Yeah.
And nobody's been able to come close to that.
Right.
You know, because I'm sure the creator of our show would sue him. He's literally sue happy. It's like you look in his direction. He's like, oh, can't do that. I'm going to sue you. I mean, we're just kind of like waiting for him to go away.
He's really limiting what you guys can do, huh?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like even my website. Okay, Lori Fetrick Fit. I originally had that as Gladiator Life and Fitness. That was the original name of my website, and he sent me a cease and desist.
Oh.
You cannot use the word Gladiator. I said, why not? I'm not saying American Gladiator.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but it looks as though that we are sponsoring you. I'm like, you're a freaking idiot.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You know, like anything the Gladiators do, he comes back and goes, nope, can't do that. I'll sue you. Nope, can't. What he doesn't understand is that if it's done in good taste, we could keep his brand alive.
Right, exactly.
You know, we're never going to do anything out of bad taste because it's going to be a reflection of us as well.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't understand. It's like, oh my God, let him do some things
Totally.
to keep the brand alive. The more he pushes down and pushes down and pushes down, doesn't allow us to do shit, his brand's going to die. Yeah. You know?
And you would think he would be cognizant of that, like that he would know, you know, that only makes sense to let your gladiators go out there and keep the brand alive.
Yeah. Promote your brand.
Wow.
So if you ever want to bring it back, you know, then everybody's excited about it. But, you know, he thinks he's a very smart businessman, but he's literally the most stupidest dude on earth.
It's quite the opposite, right?
No ill. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
He knows how all of us feel about him. I mean, it's just really sad.
That is.
Literally, it's sad.
That's too bad. That is
but anyway, on a better note.
On a better note, in the heyday, it was like I said at the top of the show, wildly popular. It caught on. I mean, to the point, you know, you got action figures made in your likeness and things like that. And, I mean, like your popularity as Ice. I mean, that must have been incredible. I mean, the crowd. I mean, I remember watching episodes where, you know, you'd think the crowd is going to be on the contender side as sort of the underdogs, but the crowd's chanting, you know, for you, Ice, and it's really, I mean, they really took to you.
Yeah, you're right. I think that originally they were going for the contestants, they're going for the underdogs, but as time went on, the show went on, they started rooting more and more for the Gladiators.
Absolutely.
You know, and they started tuning in and they started picking their favorites and, you know, and just having a lot of fun with it.
Definitely. And then,
it was.
And then you guys did some live shows, the Gladiators. Now,
we did.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with like what how exactly did that go on? Like, did you have more contenders come in, or who did you compete against?
It was an interesting concept of how they kind of switched it from television to the live show. There's a lot of people out there and go, well, why did it end off of television? Well, unfortunately, everything kind of has its lifespan on television.
Yeah.
You know, it either gets canceled because the ratings aren't high enough, the sponsorship isn't good enough, you know, whatever it may be. I'm not quite sure. I don't know why our show ended because of the fact, I mean, we had amazing ratings. It was super popular still. Who knows? Maybe they just wanted more room for different things to come in. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the time when it ended, they said, okay, the next best thing, let's go down to, it wasn't even originally supposed to be in Orlando. It was supposed to be in Las Vegas. And it was like a dinner show. It was like an actual live dinner show. I don't know. Where are you from, Chris?
Chicago. Yep.
Do you guys have anything like, I don't know, medieval times? Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've never been, but I've heard of it.
Okay, it's a dinner show where you go, you sit down, you watch dinner, and you watch maybe a little times you watch their show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they thought, oh my God, let's do the Gladiators the same exact way.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be in Vegas. That venue fell through, and so we wound up doing the show in Orlando.
Uh-huh.
And what they would do is they had kind of a rotating schedule with the contenders. So it is a dinner show, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, the contestants aren't winning $50,000, $25,000. They're there to entertain the audience that paid tickets to come in.
I see.
So therefore, they would have a revolving, kind of like a pool of contenders. And therefore, if somebody showed up one week and watched a show and then they'd come in the following week, there's a 50-50 chance that they would see the same contender or they'd see a new contender because the pool of contenders were rotating.
Got it.
So that's how they did it on the live show.
Uh-huh. And you did most of the same events and things?
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They had the wall, they had, Breakthrough and Conquer and Powerball.
Yeah.
The only thing they didn't have is, like, for instance, the Atlas spheres, where that was the metal balls you rolled around.
Right.
There was nowhere to store them, I want to say.
Okay.
So anything that was done in the air, they couldn't do that because it was done in a big arena.
Yeah.
But anything on the floor. So there was, they actually, I think they might have came up with a couple new events,
mm-hmm.
just so that they could do it in the live show. But that was interesting in the live show. It was pretty interesting how they did that.
Yeah. Did you enjoy doing the live show? I mean, like, how did it compare to the TV tapings?
No comparison. Completely day and night difference, because on a television show, we'd have to be on the set at 8 a.m., be in makeup by 8:30, and then we'd start taping by, let's say, 9:30, 10.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there also until 8, 9 o'clock at night. We'd actually film 2 shows a day back to back. So in other words, they'd have, let's say, the pyramid set up, which is a huge set, for the pyramid. Well, they're not going to just set it up for one show. They're going to set it up for 2 shows. So therefore, that particular set's going to be up for quite some time, and we're going to run through contestants.
Yeah.
And so that's how they filmed it. The live show, we would walk in and be there at 6 o'clock and get ready, and our show would start at 7. And we were done by 9.
Wow.
So it was literally just a 2-hour show, and then we'd all go out afterwards and do karaoke and drink and have fun, and then get up and lay in the sun and go to the beach and come back and do it again the next night.
Wow. So very different than the TV tapings.
Super different.
Yeah.
Super, super different. And a lot of us live in California, so therefore when they opened it up in Orlando, there was only like a handful of people, maybe 3 to 4 people, that moved to Orlando.
Huh.
But what most of us did is we would actually go down to Orlando for like a month and then come home for 3-4 months, go back down for a month, come home. So there was also a rotating store with a rotating pool of gladiators going to the live show as well.
So that's interesting. But it was a good time, huh? Doing those live shows.
Oh my God, that was I would say that was a little bit I want to say more fun. Just more relaxed.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we laid in the sun and went to the beach all day, and then we'd go and do a 2-hour show at nighttime.
Yeah. And
then go party afterwards and do it all again the next day for like 5 days straight.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Definitely not. Yeah, that sounds great.
Exactly.
So, like,
cool.
I was wondering, like, when they would describe the events to you, and whether it was Powerball or Breakthrough and Conquer, what was Assault? Would you get a run through of it, or how did that work?
Yeah, what they would do is when they were introducing a new game, they would set the whole game up. They'd bring out all the gladiators and all the riggers and all the stunt people and producers, directors, and we'd all be on the floor. And they'd go, okay, this is the new Gladiator game. We're going to show you how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, we would run through it until we understood how the game worked. Like, for instance, Hang Tough. Let's go Hang Tough,
Yeah.
which was the rings.
Right.
When they first put that up, we were all watching when they were putting it up. And first of all, when I was trying out for the show, I was a guinea pig for the actual game Hang Tough. They didn't know what size ring to use. They didn't know how far apart to put the rings. They were testing everything. So we didn't have gloves, you know, when we were testing it. Our hands were getting all blistered.
Oh.
So they would use us as guinea pigs on testing the game out.
Wow.
And if it worked, then they introduced it to the television show.
Were there any games that like maybe didn't make it that we never even knew about?
There were some games that made it for maybe one season. Then it wasn't even shown really that much.
Yeah.
And like one of them was called Snapback. It was pretty lame. You know, you had like a belt on you and it was a bungee cord and you had, I don't know, as you ran, it's like right now you do that in the gym, you know, people when they're exercising.
Yeah.
But it was just a kind of a stupid game.
Yeah.
And then the other one that only lasted one season was something called Fast Track, and it was on the ceiling.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay, now, interesting enough, that game I would never do. I literally refused to do the game.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, first of all, I'm a little claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're upside down and you're staring at the ceiling and your face is only about 6 inches away from it,
yeah,
it's a very claustrophobic feeling.
Yeah, I bet.
And literally, you're strapped into this thing on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that one.
Right.
You know?
I don't blame you. Yeah. And it wasn't even that entertaining anyway, that game.
It was and that's the other thing. The viewer audience, you know, they would bring a game on and see if the viewers liked it for that season.
Yeah.
And if the ratings weren't high enough and the viewers didn't like it and they got, you know, kind of pushed back on it, they'd, you know, kind of pull it away.
Yeah.
There were some standard staples that obviously stayed on the show, you know, at all times because everybody loved them.
Right. And what did you have? I mean, what were some of your favorites? I mean, I know in the joust you were always, it seemed to be winning every time I saw you in the joust. I mean, that was you were really good in that one.
Well, it's interesting because the joust really wasn't my favorite whatsoever. The only reason why I was good at it is because I didn't want anybody to hit me in the head with that thing. You know?
Yeah.
I figured it's called do or die.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
whatever the motivation is, it worked.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorites, obviously, is Powerball.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that game. I love the pyramid. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
That looked like fun.
There's another one. I forgot the name of it, but it was a bungee jump, and you were high up on a pedestal, and you jump. You had a bungee attached to you. Jump down. Use the floor as a springboard, and you'd shoot straight up in the air, and you'd try to prevent the contestant from putting the ball on the Velcro.
Was that swing shot?
From the ceiling.
Yeah,
swing shot. That's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was a good one.
Fun.
I like that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so much fun because it felt like you were just flying through the air.
That's so cool.
It was just so cool.
Yeah.
The wall was a lot of fun. The wall was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, that looked tough. I mean, the incline on that wall.
Pretty insane. Breakthrough and Conquer was fun. So the wrestling ring was fun.
Yeah, I remember watching you do a Breakthrough and Conquer, and like you were saying earlier in the show here, that it got pretty heated between you and a contestant. Like, you know, after
there's no doubt. I mean, there were times that it got very, very heated.
Yeah,
you know. Because you're an athlete and you're going for the win.
Right,
so
exactly.
If both of you are super passionate about winning, there's going to be some heat.
Mm-hmm. That's just the nature of sport, really, yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely. And as I was saying earlier, the physical toll of this show was like a lot more than a lot of major sports. I mean, Powerball, that was, downright violent at times that you guys were out there playing.
That got intense. And there was like no rules. That's what I loved about it. You get to slam them to the ground.
And I'm sure you ran into some contenders that were just like next level.
Well, yeah, that was, to be honest with you, that was Peggy Odita. She was 5'9", and she was like 190 pounds. She was this big track, field and track athlete. Yeah. And her thighs and her legs and this woman was big and she was strong like an ox. she was just kind of wiping the floor with all the gladiators.
Wow.
And we're just like, why do you guys bring her in? You know, you want us to win, but my God.
Yeah.
You know, this woman's like
wow.
super powerful.
Yeah.
And even if, you know, and then I had some people say, well, why wasn't she a gladiator? Well, there was a pretty big protocol to be a gladiator.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Peggy was an athlete.
Right.
But then again, here's the other thing. When you get a woman that big and that strong, I mean, us as gladiators had a problem going against her, and, you know, probably 75% of the time she would beat us. So just imagine if she were a gladiator going against normal people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like literally just no comparison.
Yeah.
They just look at her and go, really, what's the point?
Right. And, you know, I actually heard that, like, the very early seasons, like maybe the first couple episodes, this was before you were on the show, that they were saying the winner, instead of getting a prize of money, they could, like, become a gladiator. I heard that somewhere.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes, it was very true. They tried to do that the very first season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened with that, because I don't believe the winner of the first 13 episodes actually became a gladiator.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know how they got around that one. You know?
Yeah, but I think they moved it in a direction that was probably a little better, just offering some cash prizes and putting them against gladiators, definitely. And you
absolutely
talking about, like, you know, what it takes to be an American Gladiator. It's not just muscle. I mean, you got to be agile, and you got to be able to, I mean, really be able to compete in all kinds of different physical activities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's what helped me get my job being a gladiator, because going through the tryouts, since I was an athlete, I was very agile and I could move and I was quick. So they were looking for that, and they were looking for strength, and they were looking for looks, and they were looking for somebody who could speak and how they were going to be, and charisma and personality. They were looking for all these things. So, but the first thing you had to pass literally was the test of all the different games they had you. And so these girls that I was trying it out against, they were all bodybuilders, but I looked at them and I was like, you guys can't move.
Yeah.
You know, you're not an athlete. You just started weightlifting as, like, you know, your sport at the time, but you're not really an athlete, a true athlete. So that's where I had the advantage over some of these women, is because I was an athlete and I could move, and I could, you know, I was very agile.
And I think, you know, people got to really be aware of that. I mean, as I've said earlier, I mean, you guys were, as, to me, I don't know that there's a professional sport that, you know, featured women that were as physical as you. And I've heard, you know, that you guys probably weren't paid nearly as much as some of these other sports.
Wow, Chris, you've either talked to other ones, but you're right on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where'd you get your information from?
I've done some research. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, you have. No, we were the most underpaid television show on the air. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
We were on air, well, you know this, I think, 8-9 seasons. You would think that after 8 to 9 seasons that we as performers and athletes would be pretty much kind of in a way set, I don't know, I'll even make it small, for the next 20 years afterwards, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not for the rest of your life, because most actors, when they do a show for 8 or 9 seasons, they are set the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Because they made so much money and everything else. Let me tell you what we had to do. After 8 or 9 seasons, we had to go out and get a job.
Yeah, no,
we did not have that kind of money. We were, I mean, let's put it this way. My very first season, I shot 21 episodes. And by the way, when we shoot 21 episodes, that was like within a month and a half time. Like I said, it was 2 shows a day.
Yeah.
The rest of the year, we were doing, you know, personal appearances, any kind of acting, you know, anything like that we could get our hands on.
Yeah.
And my first year, I think I made a whole whopping $65,000, and that was hustling my ass off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the show out of 21 episodes, I think I made, I don't know, 18 to 20 grand, you know, our first run. And then we got like residuals after that, which accumulated to maybe another 15 grand.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people think, oh my God, you're on TV, you know, you're rich, you're famous. And it's like, well, wow, I really wish it was like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
as gladiators, we're the most underpaid television show on the air, but yet you're right, we're the most physical, you know,
definitely
athletes on the air.
And
that's crazy.
That show would never be the popular show that it became if it wasn't for you guys. So I don't know how that happened that way, that you know, you guys weren't getting what you certainly were entitled to, as far as I see it.
Chris, the reason why is because of the fact that what they held over our head was, oh, if you don't want to be a gladiator, we've got 20 other girls behind you that would love your position. Period. That was it. So if you don't like what you're getting paid, you can walk out, and I'll just have the next girl right behind you. That's what they said. When I think it was, what season was it? We were like 5 to 6 seasons in, and there was about 5 or 6 of us, like 5 of us that actually held out because we wanted points. We weren't getting anything from our toys or anything either.
Oh, wow.
No residuals, no royalties, nothing. So we were just like, hey, we want fairness here. We'd like some royalties for, you know, our toys. We'd like, you know, a little bit more money. We weren't asking for that much. Yeah. And they just simply said, okay, bye.
Wow.
See ya. We'll just replace you. And they did replace us that season. And then that's when I think the ratings started going down. And then it lasted and I think one more season after that, and then that was it.
Wow.
But see, the thing of it is, Chris, they were like, you're not the star of the show.
Yeah.
The show is the star of the show. The American Gladiator name is the star of the show. That's like watching the episode of Friends. No, you have favorites that you turn on to watch. You don't watch it just because Friends.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. You can't just throw any friends in there. Yeah. I hear you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then expect to have the best ratings in the world or the same ratings. No, you pick your favorites.
Definitely.
So they were super arrogant in that aspect of it, and they just didn't even care because they were on top of the world and the show was doing so well.
That's crazy. I mean, you look at athletes today, and to see what they're getting paid is just mind-boggling. And then to see you guys, not getting your fair shake, that's really too bad. But
yeah, you know what? It is what it is. And the thing of it is it's funny. I was asked. I think that if somebody were to say, "Would you do it all over again, knowing the circumstances?" Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
just because simply we had so much fun, and it did open a lot of doors, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today without the show.
Right.
I learned so much. I traveled the world,
Yeah.
And it made me a hustler. I'll tell you that. That's one thing. Seems like I got my hands in so many different things nowadays.
Yeah.
Can't say I'm not. I can't say I'm bored now.
Definitely, that's cool. That's good to do. So, what are you doing these days that you're finding the most satisfaction out of?
I'm flipping a house right now, which is so much fun. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is my first. I've been in real estate. I've had my license for 15, 20 years, and I would say I've always thought about doing it, and finally I took the plunge and I jumped in, and I got my first house, and I'm like a week into it right now, and literally I'm having so much fun.
Yeah.
Just completely redoing this house, and it's amazing. It's you watch all the shows on television, house flippers, everything else, and it is that much fun.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
it is that much fun.
I love seeing all that come together and things like that. It really it's so cool to watch.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm still doing my fitness. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
That'll always be there.
Right.
And it's there's little things that I also keep my hands in as far as work and investing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
keep
cool.
myself busy. It's fun.
Definitely. And yeah, your your website is LoriFetrickFit.com if anybody wants to go there. So what are you kind of offering over there?
Basically, I still have my personal training. I still do a lot of online coaching,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of fun. It's super satisfying. More and more people are doing online coaching rather than the personal training inside the gym. It's a little different. This way I can reach out and I can talk to people all around the country. I can help them with their nutritional needs, their exercising needs. I have a whole bank of exercises, and I put routines together for everyone. So right now, I mean, I've got like probably 5 to 6 different clients that I help all over the United States. I don't have a lot right now just simply because of the fact of I am a little busy, you know, doing the house flipping thing as well.
Yeah.
So I don't take on that many clients. So when one, let's say, decides to take a break, then I can actually pick up another client. But yeah, so that's what I offer on the website is online coaching. So it just depends on what somebody is looking for, if they're looking for nutritional needs or if they're just looking for a workout routine.
Yeah.
I have a questionnaire, and it's like, it goes through, and it's, they get like a consult session once a week. They get on Skype with me, and we literally it's exactly like if it was in person. It's just now you can do so much online. It's insane. Yeah. And it's a lot more affordable for people.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, personal trainers are $100 an hour. So you could very easily spend, $300 a week, just 3 times a week.
Yeah.
$1,200 a month. But online training is a quarter of that.
Yeah, and as you said, you have a questionnaire for them to fill out so you can provide what suits them best, whether it's people just wanting to tone up or lose weight or even gain weight, right?
100%. But I think it still comes down to old school, and the problem with some people that they have with online coaching versus personal training is sometimes people hire a personal trainer just so that they'll actually show up to the gym. I'm not even joking about that. It's so real.
Yeah, I believe it.
There were clients that I had when I was doing personal training in the gym that I had for like 3 to 4 years. Okay, that's great and everything, but they knew exactly what they were doing. They would just pay me just so they would show up. So when it comes to online coaching, now they have to take some responsibility and they have to actually go to the gym themselves. That's hard for people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have the dedication and you really want it, then you're going to do that and you're going to have an online coach. I mean, some people go, well, I don't need a coach. Well, I'm sorry, the best athletes in the world still have coaches.
Sure.
So don't be too arrogant to think you don't need a coach.
Right.
Obviously, you're reaching out to me for a reason,
mm-hmm.
Either to overcome something when it comes to your exercising or your nutritional, you're either hitting a plateau or you're not losing weight or you want to, whatever it may be, you're reaching out to me for a reason.
Yeah.
But then, if you tell them that it's, $300-$400 a month, they're like, oh,
yeah.
Well, how much is your health worth to you?
Right. No, it's true. I mean, that's absolutely true.
Kind of comes down to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's one of the things to where it's like we also, as coaches online, it is an accountability kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can still hold someone accountable even if they're in New York and I'm in California.
Yeah.
I can still hold you accountable.
I'm sure
and I'm
you
still
can.
going to check in with you.
Yeah. Right.
And it kind of teaches them it also helps teach them more self-control, and it teaches them taking on more responsibility for themselves and being accountable.
Yeah.
That somebody's not literally holding your hand walking into the gym and saying, come on,
right.
Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just need that a little bit more than others.
Right. Absolutely true. So I will leave a link to your website. If anybody wants to check that out, you just click on that link and see what's up over at LoriFetrickFit.com and see if she can help you.
Basically what they can do is the best thing to do is just to email me. It's you can kind of see basically you can see on my site what I offer and everything, but the best thing to do is just email me
mm-hmm.
and talk to me and say, okay, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then I can actually put together a custom plan for them is what I do.
That's cool. Very cool.
Everything is completely customized for every single person. That's the other reason.
As we wind down here, this is Lori Fetrick you're listening to here on the RockStop, who was Ice on the American Gladiators. Now, I got to ask you, the name Ice, did you come up with that?
I did.
Uh-huh.
I did, but it wasn't. It was when the movie Top Gun came out.
Oh yeah.
And yep, and there was that character on there called Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the job, and I knew that if I didn't come up with my own name, they would pick my name, and it was going to be something stupid and cheesy. So
yeah.
we were sitting in the bleachers one day, and we were just kind of throwing out names because there's 2 other gladiators that were new. And I kind of threw out the name because I was kind of joking, but I thought, the name was cool. And I said, okay, it's okay. What about Iceman? And so that's when somebody just looked at me and went, well, what about just Ice? Oh my God, that's awesome. And that's how it kind of happened.
Very cool. So there it is. And
yep.
then they, it's called, when they would introduce you and things, they would say Ice Ice Baby. Is that because Vanilla Ice was popular at the time?
Yep. I got lucky when the song came out. I was like, oh, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a couple more questions here about the show, just in general. The Eliminator, for example. Now, I always enjoy the Eliminator. You guys know that was the final event between the 2 contestants, kind of just going against a course. Now, were you surprised that they didn't utilize the Gladiators a little more in the Eliminator?
Not necessarily, because that was definitely their own deal. They had done so much going through the entire thing that now it came down to their own personal speed and their strength. So that's where they could either shine or they were really going to blow.
Right.
So, and at that time, seriously, it's like we were so tired at the end of the show anyway that when we saw our name on the list to do the Eliminator, which basically we're just standing there holding a pad, we're like, who's got the Eliminator tonight?
Did you ever try to run the course at all? Just out of
no, but we all looked at it and went, wow, that's insane.
I remember that episode that you guys, a couple of gladiators came back. I think it was Zap and Dallas, and they competed on the show against you guys. That was an interesting one.
Yes, that was very interesting. As a matter of fact, they ran the course, and I think that Zap came back and said that was probably one of the hardest things she'd ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like fun, though. I know a lot of people definitely wanted to take a crack at it. Just watching it. Yeah.
Right?
I remember that you did a few episodes, celebrity episodes and things with like Debbie Dunning from Home Improvement and
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Debbie.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, then they had some other, they had like a police department kind of show, and then they had a fireman show, and then I think they even had the Olympic show. Peekaboo Street was on the show.
Right, yeah.
Downhill skier.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they had some. Oh, and then I think no, I don't think that. For some reason, I want to think. No, I don't think they did. I'm talking out loud right now. Did they do like a Playboy type of show?
They did. That is true.
Okay, they did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool. To where we got to meet some serious celebrities coming on our show. Going
against them, I mean, were you like told that maybe take it a little easy on them?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we did. It was more for show and to have a good time, and so yeah, we didn't go all out like we normally would with contestants, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around that time, Gladiators time, professional wrestling was pretty popular. Did you get anybody suggesting you may, get into some WWF stuff or anything?
It's interesting because we always fought the whole kind of, are you like WWF? And we always fought that no, because we're real and wrestling's not.
That's true.
But there's so many people out there that would argue with us because they were diehard wrestlers. It's real. I'm like, okay, well, I get slamming to the ground is real, but
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of thought that along the way that we weren't WWF. We weren't. We had nothing to do with wrestling. Mm-hmm. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, it's super popular back then too.
Right.
Very popular back then.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I kind of think shit, why didn't I become a female wrestler afterwards? I mean, that would have been a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
But we fought it for so long, I didn't want to go in that direction, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned earlier, you talked about some acting roles. Now, I did want to mention a movie that I saw you in, a Lorenzo Lamas movie, CIA 2.
Oh my God, that was years ago. But that was fun. That was the Gladiators opened up a lot of acting opportunities. So I got to do a lot of television, a couple smaller films, and I was studying at the time, and acting was a blast. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And there was a time, and there was probably like a good 15 to 20 year span that I didn't do any acting at all. The industry changed. The reality shows came up. They didn't have as many comedy or drama shows or anything for a lot of actors to go into. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of pulled back and didn't do a lot of acting at the time. And that's mainly because we were also down in Orlando doing the live show.
Yeah.
If you want to act, you need to be in LA. And just everybody knows that. You want to do theater, you go to New York.
Right.
But so going back and forth to Florida and doing that for 4 years, and then I opened my gym out there and stuff like that. But it just recently, I mean, I went and got myself an agent like 8 months ago. And ever since I cut my hair, it's interesting because I got new headshots, and within the last 8 months, I've been going on so many auditions that it's just like, wow, this is really cool. So I'm really I jumped back into it. Now I'm like, doing my acting classes and, scene study and auditions. And so, yeah, it's like it kind of ignited the whole acting, thing for me again.
That's cool.
So I'm looking forward to it, as far as like trying to, get back out there, because I kept feeling like I was missing something, after Gladiators and when the whole acting thing kind of slowed down a lot. Even now, it's like, God, I'm missing something. So that's when it's like, I want to get back into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? I mean, you might see me out there and doing some other things, but I'm studying again and got myself an agent and going out on the auditions, and it's looking good. So we'll see what happens. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and just kind of go with it.
That'd be very cool. I mean, the reason CIA 2 is in my collection is because you are in that movie.
Oh my God, I look back on that thing and it was so bad. It was so bad, but it was still fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's a fun action movie, if you guys are in the mood for a good, nothing too serious, but a good time there to see Lori go.
Exactly.
You had a couple of fight sequences there with Kathleen Kinmont. So. Oh
my God, Kathleen and I, when we were doing that one, we had a pretty big fight scene, and there was a big explosion past us. But I remember rehearsing for that scene. They had a stunt coordinator and everything, so we were rehearsing that fight scene for almost like a week and a half, and we got it down really good. But once we got on set and we did that fight scene, I mean, her and I, there were parts that I had my face just kind of like buried in my arm in a way because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
It was just, we had so much fun doing that scene.
Yeah.
We had a blast. And Kathleen's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen Kinmont is awesome. She's such an amazing actress.
Yeah. So, yeah.
One time I traveled up to Canada and did an episode of Outer Limits. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I just got to, literally the way the industry works, it's interesting. It's like I just have to book a television show and get my face out there again, and then more and more things will show up.
Yeah.
That's just the way Hollywood works.
Right.
It's the old thing. It's like, well, I want to act and get on a show, but I don't have an agent. Well, you can't get on a show unless you have an agent. Everything is backwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still kind of, I still have a little bit of the Gladiator thing going there. But interesting enough, on some of the auditions, even speaking with the casting directors, they don't even look at your resume. They have no idea who, if I did Gladiators or not. And so that's not why I was there for the audition, which is kind of cool in a way, too.
I guess so, yeah. They just
but
take you
sometimes
for,
exactly. They're casting me for me, not
right.
just because I was Ice on the Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get me wrong, if I can use it, I'll use it.
Oh, sure, definitely. I would have thought that'd be a definite advantage for you, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, what do you have any like type of movies you would like to do, or like?
You know what?
Like
I mean, it's like what's cool about my agent that I found is he was probably the most real that I've had out of all my agents. He looks at me, and with my short blonde hair and my sleeves tattoo, he's like, "Look, you're not going to play the mom role," and I go, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "You're not going to play the girl next door." He goes, "You're going to be going out for specific roles." He goes, "You're going to be, you're going to be a detective. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a badass. You're going to be, you're going to go out for those types of roles." He goes, "It's just, I'm just letting you know this so that if you see something online, because we can see things online as well as actors, of what's out there in the breakdowns." He goes, "So if you see something and you're not being submitted for it and you don't think, it's kind of like, well, why didn't I get an audition? It's simply because you're not the right fit." Yeah. So you just got to know what kind of where they're going to put you,
right,
and what's going to be best for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the roles basically are, kind of like, whether I have a gun in my hand or I'm the good guy or the bad guy, or, cops and robbers and firemen and, girls kicking ass or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to play the mom I'm not going to play the mom roles in the girl next door.
The girl, right. That makes sense. But, I certainly, there's enough movies being made, enough, action type movies.
So many of them. Oh my God. Yeah.
That
exactly.
Absolutely. I'd love to see you in some of those. So, that'd be great.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for what's going to happen.
Yeah. And to finish up, I just have to ask about the event in American Gladiators. What was the one? Human Cannonball. Now that to me looks like the least fun for the Gladiators, because they're just people hurling themselves at you. Is that true?
Yep, it was the absolute least favorite amongst all Gladiators.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, that was the one game that actually I want to say I got hurt the most on.
Oh, wow.
Because I'd always lead with my left shoulder so that I could use my right leg to kind of brace myself. So when somebody jumped down that rope, they said that by the time they hit you, they were 10 times their body weight.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were coming with that the velocity of, they're higher up. Their pedestal was higher than ours.
Yeah.
So therefore, when they swung, the speed and, one of my friends was like, well, physics and speed and blah, blah, blah. I was like, look, here's the thing. They just said it was 10 times your body weight. So I got my nerve damage in my left arm for almost a year.
Wow.
After doing that for a season. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I mean, my left arm was just like throbbing, and it was just killing me. I couldn't figure out where the pain was coming from. Was it coming from my shoulder, my bicep? Or I honestly could not figure out what it was until I went to a doctor, and he goes, let's do some tests on you. And they did a whole bunch of probes. He goes, your whole ulnar, the main nerve that goes down your left arm is damaged.
Oh.
And I was like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah. And you chalked it up to those blows from Human Cannonball, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it healed after, obviously I stopped doing it. It healed and it was fine, but that whole season, I was just in agony. My left arm was killing me.
Wow.
I was icing it after every event. And, it was crazy.
Again, that shows what you guys go through as on that program. It was very, very physical.
They told us. They said if we see you hurt, I remember I was doing the pyramid one year, and I tweaked something with my knee, and what I did is basically on the meniscus on the side of my left leg, on the outer part of my knee, I did like a slight small tear. But even when you do a slight small tear, to put weight on that knee right then and there is just like excruciating. Yeah. So I remember basically the producers coming up to me and going, if we see you limping and you can't walk on that knee, we're going to have to bring in another gladiator and you're going to have to sit out the season. Well, if we sit out a season, we don't get paid.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor the next day and shot up cortisone in my knee and said, fix it so I can finish the show. And that's exactly what I did.
I mean, that's going through a lot of stuff. I mean, you look at athletes, a lot of athletes today that, in professional sports and things, they get paid whether they play or not, it seems like, and don't have
exactly.
And it's just crazy. I mean, but like you said, it was all worth it in the end. I mean, you made a great legacy out of it.
It was kind of cool when you look at it. It is. I did kind of make a legacy in a way, you know.
Sure, yeah.
And it's something to, and that right there is really exciting. I mean, I've talked to some people, you know, and I've had some women say, "Oh my God, you kind of saved my life." And I was like, "What?" You know, and they're like, when I was a little kid, you know, I had some problems at home and I didn't know how to stand up for myself. And then I was watching the show and I saw how strong the females were on the show. And, you know, and it made me realize that I could stand up for myself and I could, you know, be more strong as a female. So I've heard these stories and this is like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Makes it all worth it right there, that you can make an impact in somebody's life somehow, some way.
Yeah.
With your existence on Earth.
Couldn't agree more. It's been great talking with you, Lori.
Thank you, Chris. It was fun talking to you, too.
Much success to you in the future and whatever your endeavors are.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Definitely. So take care, okay?
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.